Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A warm welcome to all of you right across our beautiful African continent. My name is Simpiwe Ngona, and I will be your virtual Master of Ceremonies today. Greetings to all my Standard Bank colleagues online, Mr. Chabalala, our Group Chief Executive Officer, members of the Group Leadership Council, the country CEs in the African territories, and all other stakeholders online. Thank you very much for joining us. I'd like to extend a further warm word of welcome to Lincoln Tsamaku Mali, his lovely wife Sivuyile, also known as Spa, his daughters Lihle and Amara, who is online logging in from Cape Town, and his son Liam Mali. In attendance also, we have Mrs. Mali Senior, Mama Gladys Nombeko Mali, affectionately known as Lavi, not Lavi, Lavi, in the closer term. Everyone within the Botha family and outside calls her Lavi. Wamkelekile mama, sibulela kuwe nakutata umzwandile ongasekhoyo ngobomi bukabhuti Tsamaku. Lavi is with Lincoln's niece and her son in Rustenburg, Mandisa Lasa Mali and young Oliver. Thank you very much for accepting our invite to honor Lincoln on this very special occasion. Siyakhahlela kuni malawu amahle, osangcalanca, amasukwini, ochophetyeni, odibashe. Sithi siyabulela. I'd like to encourage everyone online to make use of the message pad on the right-hand side. Unfortunately, or fortunately, that's the only way we're going to know who's online. And please feel free to post your comments and your well wishes and whatever else that you'd like to refer to Lincoln on this day. It is a bittersweet moment, but probably more sweeter than bitter. But we will continue with this day. Given the COVID-19 global pandemic, we elected to celebrate Lincoln via this virtual platform for obvious reasons. Besides the pandemic, on a serious note, we probably would have struggled to put together a physical farewell for someone that is so well known and so loved by many people. My guess, and it's only my guess, is that we would probably have had to arrange and schedule numerous events over a period. This would have spread to a few countries outside South Africa because Lincoln belongs to all people within the African continent and beyond. I say this not only because Lincoln spent 19 years in the employ of Standard Bank. He touched so many lives within the broader spectrum of the bank and externally. Lincoln's involvement and active participation within society is also something that deserves praise and acknowledgement. Lincoln used his leadership positions wisely and responsibly by caring, building, challenging, and by leading by example. He's not always right, as he sometimes think he is, but definitely you find a good heart in a good man. The selected speakers will share more details around Lincoln's active involvement and contribution. This is how the order of the events will run. We'll have Peter Schlebusch, who's a senior banker amongst us within the Standard Bank Group. Following Peter, we'll have Ethel Nyembe, the group head and card payment leader. And then we've collated a couple of messages from a number of colleagues around the continent and even abroad to share their messages with Lincoln. Had it been for us, we would have actually stretched this much longer than an hour and allowed as many people as possible to have their say about this individual called Lincoln. And then thereafter, we'll have Lincoln respond to all of us, and then we will call the farewell closed. Ordinarily, and under normal circumstances, we would have had a beverage of some sort in our hands whilst attending this farewell function. You are more than welcome to pour yourself a drink of your choice whilst enjoying the proceedings. Let me tell you, it's also the end of the week, so therefore I invite you to have a drink on Lincoln Mali. I've already started mine. Before I call upon Peter to address the audience, I'd like to share a little joke about Lincoln. I'm sure most, if not all, know that he's a staunch and die-hard Chelsea fan. And the question goes as follows. When you ask a Chelsea fan, how do you confuse a Chelsea fan? And the answer is, take him to London and then ask him for directions. Now, I've had the privilege of traveling with Mr. Mali over the last couple of years. We've traveled to London a few times, and believe me when I tell you, never, ever rely on him for directions. If all fails, doesn't matter where you are in this world, he will say, maybe let's phone Svar, and she may be able to help us, as if Svar knows where we are, as if she knows where we are headed, but that's normally his answer. Sometimes when we want to call an Uber, he will say, let's just tell Svar where we are, and then she can Uber us there. Never mind the fact that we've got smartphones and we've got all these apps on our phones. I promise you that's a I promise you that's a very true story, and I have plenty more. Another day when the vaccine has come around, I'll tell you more. I'm now going to hand over to an amazing Standard banker, Peter Schlebusch. This is also another widely loved and deeply respected leader within the bank. I'm going to encourage you to listen attentively and very carefully. Peter speaks at the speed of lightning. When I reported into Peter, he would call, and if I was driving, I would literally find a spot to stop so that I don't miss what he wants to say. So be warned. Over to you, Peter Schlebusch. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Simpiwe. I will try to speak slowly and clearly. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and a special welcome to our man of the moment, the legend Lincoln Kamagu Malu, his beautiful wife Swa, and his lovely kids Likle, Amara, and Liam, all of whom he's exceptionally proud of. It is indeed an honor and a privilege for me to be asked to say a few words about Lincoln today. Thank you for the opportunity. It is easy to talk about Lincoln and say nice things about him at his farewell, because he is so well liked, admired, and respected, and has made such a monumental and significant contribution to the Standard Bank Group. I think Lincoln has been at the bank for about 19 years now, because from recollection, I think he's on to about his 19th car since I first met him in the bank in 2002. I've had the great fortune of working alongside Lincoln in the PPB division of the group for virtually all the 19 years, and for most of that time, he has been an invaluable member of the PPB Group Exco, where he has always made significant, passionate, and enthusiastic contributions in guiding, shaping, and stewarding PPB. There can be no doubt that every area that Lincoln was responsible for was left in a much, much better state than when he first took it on. But to understand our friend and our colleague Lincoln, one must go back to his roots to appreciate what has shaped him and molded him into the fine, compassionate human being that he is today. On an early trip to Port Elizabeth, I was fortunate enough to go with Lincoln to visit at his childhood home in Motherwell and to see the joy that his success and his great character brought to the faces of his mom, Gladys, his father, Mzwandile, and Granny. It was indeed a special privilege and treat to meet Mom and Dad and Granny Summerton, the family matriarch. I witnessed firsthand how they spoke so highly of the wonderful character traits of Lincoln that they taught him and which were deeply instilled in him from an early age. This shaped him and made him the widely respected leader that he is now. I could only concur with the importance of attributes like integrity, respect for fellow human beings, courage, compassion, unquestionable ethics, hard work, doing the right thing every day, and the importance of learning. Lincoln's family has always been very dear and near to him, and he has made them exceptionally proud. I know that your father must be smiling down on you today, Lincoln, and wishing you well in this new and exciting chapter of your eventful life. It was also great getting to see where the young Lincoln played street cricket, the church hall where he would be leading political rallies from, and the escape route out the kitchen back door and over the neighbor's property when the South African police would come looking for him. Lincoln's excellent upbringing caused him to hate injustice, oppression, and discrimination of any kind. It led him to an early life of youth and student activism in Motherwell, Rhodes University, and the Eastern Cape. His leadership role in politics helped him to gain an incredible skill and the gift of being able to truly understand the psyche of people, where they are at, and the issues of the day, and then an unparalleled ability to engage with and mobilize large groups of people behind a compelling vision and purpose that makes a real difference in the world. Lincoln has never shied away from making the sacrifices necessary to succeed at what he has set his mind on, and has been courageous in pursuing what he knows is just and right. These sacrifices included him spending time in prison for his role in the struggle, seeking asylum in the embassy of Transkei in Durban while taunting the South African police, and having less time to devote to his studies at Rhodes than he would have liked. For many, many years, we used to do a national roadshow to the branch network twice a year for 2 weeks, where we traveled around the country, filling most of the convention centers. These were great and fun times, and it was probably the time that Lincoln was at his happiest at Standard Bank when he was head of distribution, looking after the network in South Africa, being the branches, the banking suites, the contact centers and ATMs, and bringing out the very best from about 12,000 people. Lincoln loved spending time in the network, engaging with his teams and helping them to do their work to the best of their ability, and to look after our customers and one another as best as possible. Lincoln was sublime and an absolute master of the roadshows to the network. His infectious enthusiasm, competitive spirit, unbridled passion, eloquence, and moving interactions with our staff ensured that there was great staff morale and engagement in the network, which was incredibly high. Lincoln really got the network going, and he kept it pumping, which made an enormous difference. It is no surprise that it was during Lincoln's time in charge of the network, and due in large part to his tremendous passion and hard work, that Standard Bank was voted as the best company in South Africa for customer service by the Ask Africa Orange Index. That was the best customer service across South Africa, and not just in financial services, but across all industries in South Africa. This remarkable achievement was celebrated on Blue Wave, our in-house TV station, where Lincoln was the rock star and doyen of live TV. He was indeed a Blue Wave legend. We went onto Blue Wave to personally thank our staff and also announced that the group would be paying everyone a special once-off gratuity payment for achieving such great customer experience. It was also during this time that PVB South Africa acquired for the first time well over 1 million new-to-bank customers in a single calendar year. This was also due in large part to Lincoln's passion and leading by example, even being out there every weekend, rallying our staff, selling to customers. This was at the same time that we launched our PVB internal rallying cry, which was Lincoln's brainchild of a Mursa sales campaign. Mursa campaign was unambiguous and left no one in any doubt as to what we were trying to achieve. Due to its slang or colloquial language, it ended up with me on the red carpet in the group CEO's office being chastised how we could possibly be using such uncouth and foul language. When Lincoln worked in Africa regions, and also when he was involved in helping our collaboration with RCBC, he traveled relentlessly and extensively to build deep and meaningful relationships with our valued staff and our clients in country. He embraced their local culture and diversity and was universally respected and admired. The enormous time he invested in these crucial relationships was tremendously effective in ensuring that our teams and our people in country and on the ground were crystal clear on what needed to be done, and for him to meaningfully encourage and nurture our people to ensure we were delivering our best service and solutions to customers. Lincoln helped us as a PB executive to have profound, deep, and moving conversations about each of our upbringings and the transformation imperative in South Africa that galvanized us into decisive and determined action. His constant persuasion, influencing, and pressure helped us to achieve the excellent racial and gender transformation that we have done in PBB. Lincoln believed in the best of people and gave so many people an opportunity in life, the vast majority of whom grabbed it with both hands and have had successful careers. Lincoln also brought in a great deal of exceptional talent into the Standard Bank Group and has been a great magnet for attracting talented, new, and diverse skills. A shining example of this is the crucial role Lincoln had in attracting our esteemed MC today to the bank. If it was not for Lincoln, I very much doubt that Simpiwe Ngona, our VAF head, would be at Standard Bank today. And I can say without any fear of contradiction that VAF has never been better run than it is today under Simpiwe's leadership. Lincoln has a great passion for leadership development and growing his people's skills and capabilities. He also has a great love of writing. He combined these two passions really well, and I admired how he used to put so much time, thought, and research into writing leadership conversations to the network. These conversations are timeless and contain great wisdom, profound truths, practical advice, and tackle the weighty and challenging topics of the day. These leadership conversations were much anticipated and appreciated by the network and helped to powerfully reinforce and clarify the key strategies and themes that we were driving as the PVB leadership. I learned so much from Lincoln about leadership and being a good human being and making a positive contribution to society. Lincoln's father had instilled in Lincoln a deep desire to one day study at Harvard, which he saw as probably the finest academic institution or business school in the world. Lincoln was elated to be able to attend the Harvard Advanced Management Program in April 2013. One thing we knew is that where Lincoln went, there was often chaos or turmoil, but we did not expect it to follow him across the Atlantic to America. Lincoln had only been at Harvard for a few days when I was phoning him to find out if he was still okay, locked up in his dorm room as police searched for the Boston Marathon bombers that were still on the loose. At the end of the grueling 11-week AMP program, Lincoln was elected from the class of about 180 attendees, all exceptional, successful leaders in their own right from across the globe, to be the students' representative and keynote speaker at the gala dinner. I have heard from many of his fellow students on the program that Lincoln delivered the most exceptional and moving keynote address and received a rousing standing ovation for his speech from the program staff and faculty and fellow students. Lincoln is exceptionally good at building and maintaining contacts and is still a very active Harvard alumni participant today. I, for one, look really forward to reading Lincoln's autobiography that he's been writing for the past 2 years, much of it being written in the bliss and sanctity of his beautiful home at Liamara Estates, which is a place of love and special family times with his extended family. I'm sure it will be an enjoyable, engaging, and uplifting read. I remember when social media was first a thing. I asked Lincoln why he was not on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. His response was that with the colorful history and past that he has had, he did not know who would find him on social media and what would be said about him there. I think his fears are unfounded. In recent years, he has certainly lost time, as he has been a prodigious and prolific poster of content on social media sites where he has garnered a broad and enthusiastic following. Lincoln is very good at being able to think on his feet and coming up with compelling and considered responses. I was often put right and put in my place by him when challenging a number of things. A small anecdote which I won't easily forget happened in about 2009, post the global financial crisis, when Standard Bank was really struggling in terms of weak profitability and we were on a tight drive to contain costs. Lincoln submitted a lunch claim for reimbursement, and I was somewhat taken aback that he and 2 other persons spent over 2,500 Rand for a meal back then in 2019, including a bottle of fine French champagne, the real deal. On querying Lincoln about this extravagant expenditure, he was very smug. And when he told me the lunch was with our deputy CEO at the time, Sim Chabalala, and the Reserve Bank Governor, Lesetja Kanyaka, a lover of fine champagne, and that he was merely paying the bill and that I should probably take it up with Sim. Lincoln is also passionate about sport, even though he often chooses to support weak sides like Chelsea Football Club. You may not know this, but the esteemed Group CEO Sim Chabalala and Lincoln were at Rhodes together, and they were both a whole lot lighter, a whole lot faster, and a whole lot more agile than they are now. They were a formidable fly inside centre combination for the Rhodes rugby team. Lincoln is passionate about giving back and contributing in life. I already touched on his passion for leadership and giving back to so many in this area. Over the last 10 years, he has combined his passion for sport and giving back by founding annual rugby and cricket festivals in the Eastern Cape. Since its inception 10 years ago, he has personally funded these festivals to develop and give back to these sports there. It is fitting and poignant that these rugby and cricket festivals are called the Mzwandile Mali Cup in honor of his remarkable father, who had such a profound and positive influence on Lincoln's character and life. It is most unfortunate that the team selected from the Mzwandile Mali Cup was unable to travel to the United Kingdom in 2020 for a rugby tour that Lincoln had personally arranged for them due to COVID. Lincoln excelled at shopping and retail therapy, which certainly gave him lots of for our cardholder experiences. I've been on trips with Lincoln, and it is exceptionally rare that he would turn down the opportunity to shop for the latest high fashion clothes or dapper shoes, or not come home with another suitcase to carry the extra luggage. And is a picture of sartorial elegance. That has made him the poster child of men's fashion in the group and probably single-handedly helped to lift the general attire of men in Standard Bank.
Yeah.
I'd like to especially acknowledge and thank Lincoln's lovely family, Swa, Dikle, Amora, and Liam, for the tremendous sacrifices that they have made that have enabled Lincoln to make such an enormous contribution to the Standard Bank Group. I spoke earlier of his relentless and extensive travels across Africa to ensure that he was on the ground engaging and connecting with our staff and customers. That pure business travel was one thing, but I do not think there has ever been a Standard Bank executive who has attended more funerals, more memorials, or more weddings of their staff or their direct family. Lincoln used to go to a funeral or wedding ceremony practically every weekend at one stage. He really cares deeply for his people, and his actions showed that loud and clearly when his people were hurting or grieving most. I can assure you that if my own experience is anything to go by, when I was grieving the loss of my own father, that every person would have deeply, deeply appreciated your comforting them and being there for them at their loved one's funeral or celebrating with them at their wedding. Lincoln, you will be sorely and desperately missed amongst your Standard Bank family. Your legacy and enormous contribution will remain in the bank long, long after you have left. Thank you so much for your exceptional, Herculean and magnificent contribution to the Standard Bank Group. You have left our much-loved group in a far greater and better place than when you first had the privilege of leading many teams and stewarding vast resources across numerous areas of the group. Thank you so much. We wish you all the very best in the next exciting chapter of your life. All the best, Lincoln. Thank you, MC.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
Wow, Pete. Thank you so much, Peter. That was really, really superb. Every word he had said really talks about who Lincoln is, what he represents, his mark that is left in the hearts of people, his contribution, his diehard love and deep, passion, for Standard Bank. In my own home language, isiXhosa, when someone speaks like Peter has, people would respond by saying, "Andizoyigxoba." In other words, I'm not going to touch what he has said because every single word he had mentioned about Lincoln is absolutely true, and I can attest to that. Just two quick things before I hand over to the next speaker. Just on the reimbursements. When I joined the bank in 2017, I had an opportunity to meet all of Pete's ExCom members. They all told me about this issue that Peter doesn't like to spend, so you mustn't get reimbursements and so forth. And when I got all the feedback, I sat Peter down and I said to Peter, you're very clear on the mandate of what you want me to achieve. I'm very clear. I think I'm clear about what I need to do. One thing that I'm not going to accept is you not reimbursing when I'm looking after clients, dealers, car manufacturers, and that. So let's just cut a deal, and that's the deal. Despite that, Peter said, whoever told you that, they're talking nonsense. But I'm glad to hear that, Peter, it's actually true what they told me. But be that as it may, I love you for accepting me just the way that I am, and how you gave me just latitude to deliver on what I had to deliver. On the shopping part, I will not comment. I've accompanied this gentleman in all the trips. He knows I'm not a big shopper. I've helped carry bags. I've helped him with many, many things. The minute you start to comment about his excessive shopping, that's when he cuts ties with you right there and then. You don't believe me? Ask Leon Barnard and Keith Fuller. By the way, Zweli Manyati is also in that bracket, just so you know. Thanks very much, Peter. Those were really, really beautiful and encouraging words, of a great man that Lincoln is and his family. Also, the fact that you've spoken so deep and you've taken time and effort to even get to his family, meet his family, see where he's grown up, speaks volumes about who you are as a person and as a leader. Thank you, Peter. Next on the virtual podium is Ethel Nyembe, affectionately known as Miss E and widely known as Miss E within the bank. Ethel recently succeeded Lincoln to head up group card and payments within the bank. Both Ethel and I report to Margaret Ninabe, so we are under Client Solutions, so we are colleagues. She's also another superb colleague and a sister. She can tell you tons of stories about Lincoln, but I'll leave that up to her to share with you. Welcome, Ms. E. Over to you.
Thank you, Sim. Good afternoon, everyone. Hey, Liam, I see you.
I'm Z.
I'd like to welcome everybody, especially Mama Lavi. I first met Lavi because 2 weeks after I joined the bank, Lincoln lost his dad. And there I met the entire family. And over the past 10 years, I've grown to know this family well, and really and truly, we've shared some good times. So many of you have heard what Peter has said, but many of us will know Lincoln is comrade. But we also know, beyond the days of Umzabalazo, he is a father, a son, a husband, a mentor, a Kaiser Chiefs supporter, lucky they won last a true Chelsea supporter, but also a man with great values, and his conscience sure knows how to keep him awake at night. So with that, I welcome everybody. Lavi, Mandisa, or Lasa as she is affectionately known. Of course, Matriarch Usva. Simpiwe is right. Nothing can be done without Usva. Lincoln doesn't even know what his favorite shirt is right now, I can tell you. And then, of course, his daughters, Bihle and Amara, and the esteemed basketball player, Uliam. Lincoln is very much Sabelo Yabizwa. I watched him fight ferociously for everyone at Standard Bank, whether he was on that list to be retrenched or not in 2010. So I had just joined the bank April 2010, and October, a friend of mine from the 702 newsroom calls me, says, Ethel, you're FIFO. I'm just telling you, Jacko's here, talking retrenchments, they're going to be big. The story's going to run by 5 o'clock. I was working with Chris and Dumi at the time. I said, guys, we better call him. He's out at branches. We used to laugh and say, like a statesman, shaking hands and kissing babies. He cannot be asked about this story because he will not know what to say. We have to call him and ask him to reflect on this. Sure as Lincoln style, after we had called him after the 1 o'clock news, by 3 o'clock we had an urgent meeting with all the provinces, because nothing is a secret. Everyone is called, we all make a decision. And right there, when we had the Indaba, he stood up, his hand was in the air, as you would know, and he was telling Jacko, we are not going to have people taking their belongings in a box. This is not pink slip organization. This was a man who didn't know if he himself was impacted or not. And right there, the leadership was able to listen. And as a matter of fact, we embarked on a mammoth task. And we not only gave the individuals their letters, but we spoke the letters and their meaning through to them. And of course, we had a colleague who at the time was expecting their third baby and whose husband had yet to hear the news from CIB. And at 6 o'clock, he hadn't been told. And at 7 o'clock, once we had heard the news, only then were we able to leave. Nobody forced us, but it was just his value system coming through and having an impact on us. He fought hard for us to always be in front of the customer. So I worked with him at Channel between the years of 2010 to 2013. We had 1 week where we just had to go and see customer after customer or staff members and branch results for that entire week. Similarly, when I rejoined working for him in 2016, that had not changed. It included packing your bags and be gone for a week. But it gave us great insight, great opportunity to come back and say, how do we solution for what our customers tell us and what the staff members tell us? And of course, the comrade in him is relentless about his views on diversity and women leadership. So I sit here, having taken the baton from him, knowing that I wasn't a mistake, but rather a succession plan. Changing tack, I will tell you that I met Lincoln in 2019 after Zweli had merely just mentioned my name as someone he should consider for branch management. We had an hour scheduled at Hyatt in Rosebank, closest to the office, and it turned out to be 3 hours. A 3-hour session where he greeted everybody, and this was scary because most of the people Lincoln knew, I knew too. You know what I'm talking about, right, Liam? Mm-hmm. Alas, as they say, the rest is history. I therefore went on to realize that whenever Lincoln introduces himself, he says, "Hello, my name is Lincoln or Lincoln," depending on which school you went to. I now know it's not about the school. He responds very differently to Lincoln or Lincoln. Va never says Lincoln. She simply says Lincoln. And so I've never tried it in the time that I worked for you to really force my way and call you Lincoln. If I could give the people at Net1 a tip, maybe that would be just the only one. So thank you, Sva, for joining us today, and to Liam and the rest of the family. And thank you again, Sva, for having our entire exco of card and payments come through to your house ever so occasionally, whenever we were breaking bread or ending the year. I will also say this. Lincoln has demonstrated that he can take feedback. I remember joining, and on Wednesday there was a risk meeting that would start at about 6:30. So I SMS'd him. I said, "But dude, you know I don't have a wife. No one looks after the curtains or does breakfast or drops off the children at school. It is all on me, and I'm packing this afternoon. I'm going to a province. How does it happen that I might end up leaving my kids with the security guard?" He listened, and soon I saw the meetings changing to 8 a.m. Yes, we were still chasing the taxis and the traffic, but he had pivoted. He was then able to let all of us moms have the pleasure of dropping our kids at school. It's not that Swasiso, my husband, can't drop off the children at school. It's just simply because I love it. And he took that into consideration. And for that, Lau, not only were you able to talk about diversity, but you demonstrated it. And thank you. And so when we told him, Miriam and I, that we are enough with conversations with Lincoln, can you take this to the public domain? And he said, "Do you know the things I used to do? Do you know if I'm on social media, what's going to happen with Sva?" I've gone live and public with conversations with Lincoln. You reflected when you came back and you said, "Peter," in fact, you don't call him Peter. You'd say, "Miss E, oh, Peter is asking how are the sales?" And I say, "Okay, I'll just join the sales meeting." You say, when is the sales meeting? I said, "No, there must be one." He says, "No, and boom, Sana Bank had their first sales meeting. And when we reflected, we said we're closing the year in October with all the appraisals, when we've got 3 more months, the busiest 3 months of South Africa, before we close. Mayan said, "You're never going to agree to this, Lincoln." We said, "No, I'll just tell the people, 31st of December, when the year ends, the year of our Lord." And boom, it is now natural that in January, we will close the year end and reflect on the year that was. And so, one more anecdotal story. Anyone who knows Lincoln knows that he's forever punctual. He's worse than my mom, who would make us arrive for a African wedding 2 hours before the stipulated time. It starts 2 hours later, but we've been there, Snompago, and we are reading books just till we wait. Lincoln is as bad as my mom. And as for me, never punctual. I even find time to find Teams traffic. And so this one day, there we were in China, one of his visions to make sure that we had the top leadership that he had heard about on talent, that were working on data, and he took us to China. That's exactly where I met the new CEO of Namibia, Mercia, where I met Kevin, many others that I would never have met because I was simply someone that worked in South Africa. And there he gave us, guys, we must have principles. Times were good at that time. And we must be punctual. We can't be late. We represent the bank. Picked up my hand. I said, oh, he said, when the bus is to leave at 6, 7, or 8, it leaves at those hours. Not a moment later. I picked up my hand. I said, can we make sure that it's not a moment before, knowing who I am? Third day, everything had been going smoothly. We were off to see Alibaba. 8 o'clock, the bus was about to leave. Now, when Lincoln is anxious, don't sit close. You might just be anxious as well. So, tells the bus driver at 7:59, I think we should be going. Look at the traffic. I said, boss, we said not a moment earlier. And 8 o'clock, the bus left. Boy, was I glad I was on time, because I saw fellow executives running in their suits, in their high heels, chasing the bus. Thank goodness for pre-COVID times, because there was Beijing traffic, and we caught the bus. He was calm. We got to see Alibaba. Oh yeah, in the evening, you know it, I know it, he was on to us. We had principles. We had agreed. And so what happened this morning? None of us were late again. But some things never change with Lincoln. You can have a dinner with customers or staff. He looks at the menu as if he were to study it. Because as you know, he's a man who loves to say, I want it in detail, Miss E. Just let's add more detail. But he always orders the same thing. Tuna or steak. But I just want to pause now and say I don't speak just for myself, but for our entire teams that we've worked together and those that I never saw you work with. And say thank you. You have the ability to transport one to be outside their box, to achieve their greatest ability and potential. You're very persuasive. And while sometimes as a leader, it seems that you're listening to the voices that are ordinarily the ones that speak the loudest. And many a times that my creative voice came through and my mind was not banking speak, but creative. And yes, maybe you didn't agree, but you would call back and say, Miss E, what was that idea again? And many a times I would say, it's okay, don't worry. I know you don't like it, and I know you didn't really hear me or you didn't really understand me. I'm okay. And you say, no, just tell me again. And many a times I succeeded the most when you said, Miss E, I like it. Go and try it. And so this morning, we were able to celebrate the Mwamba 2019 and 2020 graduates, because this was a vision you had. That yes, we talk about diversity and we talk about women empowerment, but we've got to walk it. Because when women take on these roles, women don't really know what they need to do and what they could have learned and how to show up as authentic. And so Mwamba was born. And last year we incorporated VAS. And today, this morning, we had the graduates of 2019 and 2020. It's a legacy you leave behind and one we hope to continue. And of course, here I am, having received many a congratulations about the new role that I have. And how it really came about was that you called me and you said, Ms. Ian, you ready for the new way of the bank? I said, of course I am. You said, you're ready, right? I said, yes, I've got succession. No, you said, you know about succession plan. I said, yes, I'm not worried. I'm ready. There are, as Sim has said, a lot more jobs than people. So I'll find something. She says, and you said, have you forgotten about succession plan? I said, no, I haven't. I said, well, Margaret is going to call you. I said, but why would Margaret call me? And boom, I sit here today, having given my baton to Nelly Sazulu, and having watched many women graduate this morning. I do think that the future's bright. I sit in Client Solutions with amazing, amazing, amazing individuals on one table. And I think you must have said something about me before I arrived, because the welcome I have received can only fuel us to do better as a team. And in your family, I found family, because I soon realized I better call you on a Sunday if I want key decisions, because by Monday you would have flown out. But now you don't fly out, you are at the farm, and sometimes the signal is not so great. Now, Ulele, Net One has gained what will be your next chapter. You deserve it, and we will continue to shine the light. And thank you so much. Delantle.
Thank you, Missy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ethel. That was very moving. Unfortunately, or fortunately, we can't not get caught up in the moment around reflecting on the contribution that Lincoln has given to Standard Bank Group, on the person that he is. Once again, I'm not going to get into the details of Ethel's tribute to Lincoln. The one point that I do want to properly stamp on, and particularly for Lihle, Amara, and Liam, and Mandisa for that matter, is that there's one thing I can confirm and tell you. Lincoln is extremely firm and has a relenting stance for the truth. Irrespective of who thinks what, he may be alone at times, and I just want to tell you that's who your father is. And by the way, that's who your grandfather was too. And I'm not going to dwell too much on that. I have some glimpse knowledge and of Lincoln's father, Tata Mzwandile, and his mother for that matter. They are people of the truth, irrespective of the circumstances and popularity or otherwise. But it's another story for another day. Folks, we've got people that have put in time to record their messages, for Lincoln. We're now going to swiftly move to the next phase of our program, where we'll hear several colleagues give testimony on this great and big friendly giant called Lincoln. And in between the videos, you'll see there's some messages that are being published, that will be published, shared by many colleagues, around the continent, as well as further than the continent. So I'm going to ask that we move to the videos. Thank you very much.
Lincoln, what an honor to share a couple of thoughts with you and your family on what I've observed over the past 11 years of my journey with the Big Blue. When I joined in 2010, I soon learned that, of course, everyone knows Lincoln. I always admired how you were able to ask just the right questions of the bosses when there were leadership sessions or engagements happening at the GLC there in Morningside. You always sat there in the back rows, and when you pressed the buzzer, we knew that we were in for a bit of action. In fact, I think we all sat there thinking we can't wait for Lincoln to ask the difficult questions that nobody else was brave enough to ask. Then there were, of course, the many sessions where we had the privilege of listening to you present with passion, enthusiasm, authenticity, and character. There is simply nobody like you, Lincoln, and heaven help the poor soul who had to present after you. In the short time that we've worked together, I have experienced your passion for growing people, your superhero power of building relationships, and your authentic enthusiasm to make a difference in the lives of others. I've also shared a personal encounter with you, of course, in 2014 when I was head of private clients, now Wealth and Investment. Lincoln was the regional CE for PBB Rest of Africa, West Africa. As part of my new role, I needed to transfer price both Dion and my cost to the private clients' businesses in Kenya and Nigeria. And I have to add, all of you, that the cost we wanted to allocate was in fact 20% less than what it was the previous year. Lincoln's reply, and this was not said in jest in the mail, was over my dead body. Needless to say, we've come a long way since, Lincoln. The day Lincoln told me that he's resigning, I cried. And then we cried together. Dion said to me I should have told Lincoln over my dead body, but I'm not sure he would have listened. Lincoln, we wish you all the best for your future endeavors. I know that you will do great things and accomplish any goal you set out to do. In our last staff meeting, we passionately spoke about what lies ahead for Client Solutions, and I think we all agreed in our strategy session that the future is bright. I can assure you that even though you won't necessarily be in our future strategy sessions, you will remain a conscience to all of us. Your bright attire might be missing from the meeting, but your spirit will be there, and it'll guide us on this future path. After that staff meeting where we spoke about the future being bright, one of our colleagues gave me a gift to prove that very point. And I have to say to you today that wherever you go and wherever your leadership light shines, even though this week was a little bit chilly, I can say to you, where Lincoln goes, the future is bright. We will miss you, and we really do wish you all the best for the future. Thank you.
You will continue to bring the magic that you brought to the Blue Bank for so many years. I'm sure you're starting to feel like furniture there, but we honestly wish you the best on your new journey, and you'll do amazing things there. Love you so much, and I'm proud of you always.
This is probably one of the hardest videos I've ever had to shoot, because we get to say farewell to such an amazing leader. Mr. Mali, we wish you nothing but all the best where you are going. I have no doubt you will make a remarkable impact where you're going, because that's the kind of leader that you are. You've touched so many lives. You've touched so many of our careers. You've really been such a support and anchor to so many of us. You've been a boss, a mentor, a father figure to so many of us. So we wish you nothing but all the best in your new journey. You will be dearly missed. Dearly missed. Your dance move will be missed, your vibe will be missed, but we know that other people deserve to see the great that you are. So we're releasing you to the world so that you can actually go and show them what you're made of. All the best, my leader. All the best. We miss you.
Hi Lincoln, pretty much here to wish you all the best on your new endeavors. If there's ever a moment that was described as bittersweet, I think it would be exactly this one. However, far more sweet than bitter, because I think pretty much this move of yours to CEO-ship, in my view, very much inevitable. It was really just a question of, which organization would resonate best with the big man. And the bottom line is, well done, touche, upwards and onwards. Extremely excited for you. Thank you for 3 really kick-ass years in card and payments. thank you for 3 years of extreme amounts of growth, extreme amounts of arguments, and a really engaging time. So again, thank you, kick ass on your next job, and we wish you all the very best. Cheers.
To Standard Bank's own Shrek, Lincoln Mali, as you bid farewell to the Standard Bank Group, your colleagues, your home and our home of 19 years, as a family, we would like to express our deep gratitude for the support, growth and the many opportunities that the bank has afforded you. We are so proud of your incredible contribution and leadership in the 19 years you were at the bank. You gave your heart and soul. You impacted and touched so many lives from Nigeria to Polokwane. And most importantly, you did it your way. You served the bank well. You served it with love, pride, integrity, humility, and most importantly, empathy. The same values that you continue to instill to your children and many others whose lives you continue to touch every day. My father-in-law would have been so proud that you're leaving the bank in a better place than you found it. We know it has been an extremely difficult 3 months of your life, and us as a family leading up to your resignation, as we could not imagine Lincoln without Standard Bank. You've met some amazing people along your journey, people that inspired you to be the kind of leader that you were to them. And I know you are leaving the bank having made lots of friends, lots of happy memories, and lots of lessons learned.
Dear Lincoln, a minute is never near enough to convey the incredible impact you have had on me as a person, as a father and husband, as a son, and as a leader. You are an exemplary human being in all respects. You will always remain an inspiration to me, and the lessons I have learned from you are forever etched in my character. And for that reason, I can truly say that you, sir, are a true legend. When I doubted, you smiled with confidence, making sure I believed. You taught me to share, to elevate, to dare, to challenge, and most importantly, you taught me to lead. To conclude, I want to quote the words of an infamous author. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face, and the rain fall softly on your fields. Goodbyes are not forever. Goodbyes are not the end. They simply mean I will miss you until we meet again. Go well, my leader.
To my father that I love very dearly, I'd like to wish you the best on your new journey at Net1, and I hope that they receive you with warm arms and welcome you there. I'd like to say that Standard Bank will miss you very dearly and that they would love to have you. I thank you for all that you've done for me and all the paths that you've paved for me and how you've really shown me how to be a true leader. I love you, Dad, and good luck.
Hi, Lincoln. Wow, where have all the years gone? I remember meeting you in April 2002 as my first boss, and from day one, you showed nothing but love and respect for me, and thank you for that. You and Sva invited me to your first home, I think it was your first home, in Lawn Hill, and we had a lovely time there. And I must say, Lincoln, I did revenge by inviting you and Sva, who had never been to Zimbabwe, to come and stay with me for a long weekend. And our family relationship was solidified then. And as you start this new chapter in your life, Lincoln, I hope the relationship that I have with you and Sva will continue beyond Standard Bank Group. The two of you have been fantastic friends to me, and I would absolutely hate to lose you and to lose that relationship that we have. So go well, my dear brother, and I do hope to be seeing you a lot more outside of Standard Bank. Ciao.
Leader Lincoln Mali, a true friend of Nigeria, I want to thank you for your contributions to the development of the Nigerian PBB business when you were head of the region. Thank you for all your efforts and the trips you made to the states, the farthest corners of Nigeria, the branches, and the various activities that resulted in energizing and binding the team together. Thank you also for your contributions to the franchise when you were head of cards. I wish you good success in your new endeavor. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
John Quincy Adams said, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Lincoln, you are such a person. You have changed thousands of people's lives, but yet have managed to always be there to support me and my family. You will be sorely missed, but your legacy will forever carry on. Thank you, Lincoln."
It was 2014 September when I first met Lincoln Mali, my friend and my brother. We have achieved a lot in the past, especially during the partnership with ICBC. We have launched iGo Africa, iGo China, staff exchange program, and we set up in partnership with China UnionPay and also other Chinese fintech companies. I'm so happy to see that we can contribute a little bit in the China and African corridors. And also, we have so many good memories together in the past. Lots of jokes and laugh and sometimes some ganbei together, which also a lot of happiness. So it's a pity to see Lincoln is leaving Standard Bank, but on the other way, it's happy to see her pursue his new career and bring the culture of Standard Bank to the other African companies. So together with Mr. Wang and also ICBC card team, we wish Lincoln good luck and success in his new career. Stay in touch, and don't forget to send me a copy of your new book.
Hi Lincoln, I hope you're well. I don't believe in goodbyes, and I'm not going to say goodbye to you. I want to wish you well for whatever the future holds. I want to wish you great success, great happiness. I want you to ensure that you always capture the hearts and minds and souls of everyone that you engage in. All the best, and I love you, man. Bye.
And to Standard Bank, thank you for shaping my father into the man that he is today. I know that if he could, he would give you guys the world, and he will miss you guys dearly. But Daddy, I'm really proud of you, and keep up the good work, champ. I love you so much.
Lincoln, 15 years ago, I met you when I asked you a question, a bold Ivy question, and you answered, and that's when I met you, truly met you, a leader that is real and authentic. And over the years, I've come to know that you lead with heart and passion and authenticity. I've also had the privilege to watch you work in Sweden, where you are from, and everything you've done for the local community to uplift the rugby tournament, your alma mater function for the matriculants. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to watch you, and for really saying to us, especially for us as women, that it is okay to be who we are, our authentic selves. Thank you for leading with so much of heart. The Blue will forever be a better place because you were here. I wish you all of the best. God bless.
We dare to be different. We bring our entire selves to work. We know that no one is coming and that it's our turn to create the future we want to see. We dare to be different. We impatiently want to change the world. We know that just because we don't see the changes in the world that we want, that it's not an excuse not to become the change we want to see. We dare to be different. We know we don't have to be strong every day. We know that kindness, empathy, and vulnerability is not a weakness. We dare to be different. We stand on the shoulders of giants. We know how to lend our power so that others can succeed. We dare to be different. We use our voice, big or small. We know that imperfection does not mean you are imperfect. We dare to be different. We dare to be young and female. We know we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. Lincoln Kamagu Mali, you dared us to be different. We heard you. We thank you. It is now our turn to dare others.
There are two things which I'm most grateful to Lincoln Mali for. The first is the confidence and trust that he placed in me to start the Conversations with Lincoln journey with him. And just a few years later, we were able to celebrate more than 105 editions being published, as well as the impact that it had on thousands of lives. The second thing that I'm most grateful for was Lincoln's ability to see my potential before I could see it myself. He gave me stretch projects, he gave me challenging experiences, he challenged me to strive for excellence continually, and for that I am a better leader and a better person today. And so 12 years later, Lincoln, I want to honor you as my leader, as my mentor, as my friend, and say thank you for the impact that you've had on me. Lincoln, I know that on this journey that lays ahead of you, the best is yet to come. I know that your legacy and your impact remains with you no matter where you are and no matter where you go. And so I wish you all of the very best, and God bless.
Good day. I'm here to say Godspeed to a dear friend and colleague who's moving on to greater things, to go and run a great institution, Net1. They'll definitely benefit from your incredible knowledge, skill, talent, and verve, Lincoln. You'll remember, Lincoln, the famous quote from Hegel, "The owl of Minerva takes flight at dusk." Now, we all know that the owl of Minerva represents wisdom. And this saying means that we often only attain wisdom rather late in the day, just as something is about to end, and of course with the benefit of hindsight. So now, looking back on Lincoln's very successful career at Standard Bank, the owl of Minerva takes flight. We always knew that you were a great banker and a great leader, but we also remember that you were a great pioneer. When many people were pretty buttoned up, Lincoln was always truly human, emotional and fully engaged. When many of us were convinced that banking was going to stay pretty much the same, Lincoln knew that it would change, and he was innovating. When many of us were sitting behind our desks, Lincoln was out there in the Northern Cape, in the branches of Ghanaian and Nigerian towns, whose names we had never heard of. And I remember distinctly Lincoln uttering Ghanaian chants at a function in Accra, and I asking myself, who is this guy? Lincoln, you will be sorely missed. Cheers, my friend.
Thank you very much, colleagues, to all of you who took time out to put these beautiful messages together. Initially, I cracked a silly comment or joke in hindsight now, and asked Mr. Mali if he had received the box of tissues that I had sent him. But to be quite honest, when one starts to reflect, absorb what everyone has had to say, talking from their heart, the tear can't not come out of the eye in terms of the contribution that Lincoln has made. We salute you, we acknowledge you, we celebrate you, we appreciate you, we love you, Mr. Mali. I'm not going to go back. The recordings you heard for yourself, and that's just a few of the Standard bankers amongst thousands of people who could have probably told you that more about Lincoln himself. Before I hand over to the man himself, I once traveled into an African country without him at the border gates or at the exchange when I was passing on my passport to enter this particular country. The gentleman looked at me and he said, "Who do you work for?" And I said, "I work for Standard Bank." And the gentleman said to me, "Do you know Lincoln Mali of South Africa?" And I said, "Yes, I do. But can I ask you a favor? I've got two colleagues with me. I'd like them to hear this question because he's going to tell me that I'm a liar." And I called my two colleagues, Kanyisa Shekani and Eugene Ush, both my VAF colleagues. And I said, "Sorry, sir, can you please repeat the question?" He said, "Do you know Lincoln Mali of Standard Bank, South Africa?" Now, when you enter a country and officers are asking you if you know Lincoln Mali, then I guess you kind of understand the impact that everybody is sharing now. So I'm now going to hand over to Lincoln. Of course, he didn't believe me. He said I'm a liar, but I called those two to witness, and then we proved him wrong. You know, Lincoln was trained as a lawyer, so you've got to have proof, you know, when you wanted to take him on something. I'm now going to hand over to the man of the moment. He needs no introduction, and please welcome on stage Lincoln Mali to address us. Over to you, Sogwini.
Wow, thank you so much, Mbona. Thank you so much, Sim Mbandla, for everything you've done today. I want to firstly start to say to my boss, Margaret, thank you for not only your kind words today, but for everything you've been over the last few months. You've made it even more harder for me to make this decision because of the humanity that you've shown me. You've brought back to me what a standard banker is by the manner in which you lead, the manner in which you care, the manner in which you challenge us to be better. So thank you so much. And for you and the team who've put it together, I'm very, very, very grateful for all the surprises. Knowing Margaret is always a surprise. And then the co-conspirators that are part of my family, I didn't even know that they were part of this. I kept on saying we've invited to the farewell, and they kept on denying it. So Margaret, thank you so much. To all the speakers, thank you so much to each and every one of you for the warm, kind, amazing words you've shared. Really, really, really thank you from the bottom of my heart. To everyone who's attended this farewell, taking time from your busy schedules on a Friday, thank you so much. Now, everybody knows I'm a man of very few words, so I'm just going to make a couple of comments. The first one is to thank my dear wife, Zwa, the love of my life, the person who's shaped me and given me direction. I do think that some of the comments that have been made here are a bit exaggerated. Yes, I do fear Zwa, but not in the manner that they've described. But yeah, thank you for everything you've done for me, the support you've given me, the love you've given me, and I've always just wanted to make you proud. To my mom, yeah, always wanted to know what I do at work. Well, you've heard from my colleagues what they've said. Thank you for your upbringing. Thank you for your support, your sacrifices. Thank you for the monies that you used to have to borrow because I lied when I was at university and said I need money for tutorials. And you would go and give money for tutorials, money for assignments, when in fact you didn't have to pay for those. That got me to where I am today. And you and my dad and my extended family have always been part of my life and always be. To my kids, Lihle, Amara and Liam, thank you for your love and support. And I know most people here will not know that you were probably the hardest to convince about going to another organization, because I guess all you've known is Standard Bank and all you've loved is Standard Bank. And so I'm glad you've supported me in the decision I've made. And I'm just so blessed to see you grow and prosper and be the kinds of people that you are becoming, and that you will live on the legacy that our father and my father-in-law had left for us as a family, that you would carry on those traditions because they mean a lot to us. As for all my colleagues at Standard Bank, this is not a time for me to make long speeches. Everything I've wanted to say, I've said it in this organization, and I've said it to everybody. The only thing I want to reflect on is something that I was introduced to by Sim Chabalala. Now, most people know that Sim will always quote dead poets, or Sim will quote somebody speaking Greek or Roman or whatever. So when we started working in the bank, working with Sim, who gave me my first opportunities, I was captured by the rallying cry for the Standard Bank, Prodiant Vexilla. This has been with me all these 19 years. And Prodiant Vexilla means let the standards go forward. What are the standards? These are the people that are carefully chosen, who carry the flag or the symbol of an army. They don't carry any weapons. They march with the army. And when all the enemy comes, they just have to march forward. Even when a soldier is in trouble, all they have to look for direction is to look at that standard and follow that standard. And when that standard bearer falls, the next person has to carry that standard bearer. There was no glory in being a standard bearer. It was the responsibility, the belief in the cause, the belief in the army, that you do something bigger than yourself. All I wanted to be was a standard bearer. And all I wanted to produce were other standard bearers. And I hope that more and more leaders of our organization will become standard bearers, and they will do everything for this great organization, not for themselves, not for personal glory, not personal loyalty, not for fealty, but being loyal to this organization and its clients. The day we forget why we're here, we will lose this organization. I'm very grateful for what Standard Bank has been to me, the opportunities I've been given, the platforms I've been given, the growth I've got in Standard Bank. My blood will always be blue, and I thank the organization so much. All I ever wanted to be was a standard bearer, and I hope the next colleague will pick up the standard and march forward. Prodiant Vexilla. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mali. That was quite powerful. Spoke with a lot of impact. I'm not sure if I agree with you when you say you are a man of few words. Even though today, I'll give you at least the credit that you kept it very short, brief, but full of wisdom and impact. Thank you so much. I know that you will have lots to share about the 19 years experience that you shared, within the Standard Bank group. We look forward to receiving and reading your book, because some of these stories will be shared, in that book. I know what it means to you, and I'm grateful that you took the step to actually put pen to paper about your experiences, about your life, about how you think about the world, people, societies, the globe, and everything else. So thank you very much. Just to put things into perspective, folks, when you talk about 19 years, that is quite significant in terms of serving and in terms of sacrifices and giving yourself, to a particular cause or organization. Now, if you think about Lincoln's life, his family, when he joined Standard Bank, he was only married for 4 years. That's 48 months. So I like to look at months because I finance cars for a living. So when you take 48 months, that's a 4-year contract in my mind. Lihle was only 11 years old. Now, if you get to meet Lihle and speak to Lihle, you know, you will not get a chance to have a word, you know, with Lihle, because she will tell you everything because she knows everything. Amara was one, still in nappies at the time when he joined this wonderful organization called Standard Bank. Liam was being spoken about and planned and was not even around at that point. I'll keep it at that. So just to give context, that 19 years is a lifetime, you know, for someone, you know, to give service and that. And for that, Mr. Mali, on behalf of the organization, you know, we salute you. We give gratitude for what you've done and all the wonderful sacrifices that you have given. Folks, I'm now going to invite all the presenters, the Mali family, the Client Solutions leadership on screen. Please activate your cameras for those that I mentioned. Unfortunately, we can't have everyone online. We're now going to raise a glass, you know, and toast to Mr. Mali. Until I see everyone, we will propose a toast, you know, to Lincoln Mali and the 19 years he has spent at Standard Bank and all that he's done, you know, for everybody that's around the globe. We even have a colleague from across the seas, Will Thorpe, who's here with us. And folks, I just want us to raise a glass and toast to Lincoln Mali, his wonderful family, whilst appreciating what they've done. Most importantly, I'd like to say Godspeed to Lincoln as he moves on to the next chapter. Cheers, Lincoln.
Cheers, Lincoln.
All the best, Lincoln. All the best.
Folks, last but not least, I know that our chief executive had to step off for an urgent meeting. He did come back, you know, very swiftly, so he was able to enjoy the last 30 minutes of this very special occasions. And yeah, last but not least, I'd like to thank you all, you know, for logging in on a Friday afternoon into the evening. I know this means a hell of a lot to Lincoln. I know it means a lot, you know, to his family. I think if you read all the comments on the right-hand side, so many people were hosted at the Mali home. So many people were brought in as family members. So many people can tell you stories about his children, how they grew up and over the time. And I fully agree with him when he says, in fact, I believe him when he says the hardest people that he had to convince were probably his children. Mine were a little bit smaller than Lincoln's children when I left my previous employer, but I also had some questions that came, you know, from children at the time. As the saying goes, in life, you know, there's time for everything. For those who read, you know, the books of history, you will understand all of that. There's a time to arrive, you know, there's a time to leave, there's a time to grieve, there's a time to be happy, there's a time, you know, there's a time for everything in life. And I guess unbeknown to us at this particular juncture, I would like to believe Lincoln is where he's meant to be in life and where he's headed. It's probably where he needs to go. So Lincoln, you carry our blessings. And once again, we thank you for all you have done. And in my closing comments, before I wish you all a superb weekend, I just want to refer to one of my favorite, authors, leadership authors, Dr. John Maxwell, in his book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And the 21st law he talks about is the law of legacy. I'm not going to go too much into detail about what it entails. For those that are interested, please go check it out. But pretty much, you know, he talks about one day when you are no more, what would you like people to say about you? Now, fortunately, and very fortunately so, we are very blessed to actually share these stories and feedback to Lincoln whilst he's still alive. His children can hear this. His wife, you know, is with us as well. And also, we've got some work to do. And in isiXhosa, there's a saying that goes, "Imoto ilandelwa luthuli lwayo." And if I translate that in a way, is that dust follows, the car that I guess it's very difficult to interpret also directly. But by the way, if the car is moving and there's dust behind it, the dust follows its car. So my dear friend, colleague, brother Lincoln, we will miss you dearly. Thank you so much once again for all. I don't think we can thank you enough, for what you have done and the impact that you have shown, not only to Standard Bank, but customers, societies. People are still bewildered out there that, Lincoln, we know Lincoln in Standard Bank and we don't know any other else. We don't understand this, but be that as it may, like I said, it is what it is. Sfar, thank you to you as well for being a pillar of strength for Lincoln. I can comfortably tell you, when we relay these stories about what he says about you, it's not a fear factor at all. It's really deep-seated love, appreciation for someone that's kept him on track, that continues to do so. Other stories I won't share where diet is concerned, where he sometimes says, no, I want to eat this, now Sfar is not here. But that's for us. That's for us, to enjoy. Thank you, Sfar, so much for the big heart that you have. Thank you for embracing all of us. Thank you for embracing all the people of Standard Bank, be it in the continent, be it be anywhere else. I know that your house is everybody's house. I've experienced that myself. I can share many stories where we've enjoyed, gatherings there, despite the fact and the very unfortunate and sad state that your husband is a New Zealand supporter, but we were welcome home. But I know that for sure that I've taken lots of money from him on our rugby bets. But Sfar, whether you were there or not, you made sure that we were catered for, you made sure that we felt at home. And for that, we thank you so much. And thank you to your children as well. And we look forward also seeing them rise. They've got big shoes to fill, no pressure, guys. But you know what? The example has been set. And we only wish you the best and nothing else, because that's what your father wants for all of you. Folks, to the Standard Bankers, thank you so much for the wonderful messages. They will be recorded. We will share them with the Mali family. And I guess this is not a goodbye. We will forever find ways and means to make sure that we stay in touch. But yeah, this has been a very special occasion for all of us. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your drinks wherever you are, and do drink responsibly at home. And God bless you all. From me, I hand over to to everyone. And thanks so much, guys. And enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, boss.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, Lincoln. Thanks for coming.
Cheers, Lincoln.
Thanks, guys. Thanks.